Ladies and gentlemen of the Action Army, what is going on? And welcome to another episode of Answers for Athletes. In today's video, we have two questions. First question from FMJ World, who says, what is a deload? Made plenty of videos on that before, but I'll touch on that very briefly. And the second question is from Playboy Dribble 4645, who says, can we please get an explanation of the difference between a deload and a backoff phase? Yes, that's a very good question. So a backoff phase is something that I've been talking a lot about to maximize your gains. You want to really increase your vertical jump. You want to maximize your speed, power, strength, even hypertrophy. A backoff phase is something that I think everybody should be going through or implementing into their training programming. And it's something that I do. I've changed every single one of my my training programs online, and I've implemented backoff phases into every single program. Something that I do with my high school guys, college guys, pro guys in person. It's something that everybody should be doing. So stop yapping. What is it? I will stop yapping after this. Comment JUMP, JUMP down below in the comment section for a free bodyweight vertical jump training program. Comment your question down below if you want me to answer your question in a video just like this. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and get my vertical jump secret system. Link in the pinned comment and in the description. All right. So what is a deload? A deload is a period of time, usually a week. You can do deload days, but usually a week of training that is lower volume, lower intensity, and the whole purpose of the deload week or that period of time is to allow super compensation to occur from the training that you've done in your previous phase or your previous block so that all of your gains come to fruition. So basically everything that you just did, you're training really hard, and then we deload so that we allow some extra rest, recovery, so that we can see the fruits of our labor. Essentially, that's a deload. Normally, and I'll actually give you 3 different types of deloads and what you can do, and then you could pick the best option for you. A backoff phase, which I might need to rename this. So I made this up. I didn't create. I don't know, like, who the fuck do I think I am? Vert Shansky? I didn't create a backoff phase. I just named it a backoff phase. It's just a period, a 2 to 4 week period of low volume, high intensity work after we go through a volume phase. And I'll explain more of what that is. But I might need to rename it because people hear back off. Like I'll tell one of my athletes, they'll say, Coach, love the last phase. What's next? I'll say, we're going to do a 4-week back off to allow you to really see some increases in your strength, power, speed, etc. They'll say, I don't want to not train for 4 weeks. I'm like, bro, it's not a deload. It ain't a 4-week deload. So I might need to change the week back off, because you hear back off and you're like, I don't want to stop training. So 2 to 4 weeks, super high intensity, but low volume. So let's get into it. I'll talk about deload, back off, and then I'll give you a couple. This video is going to be so fire. I'm going to bless you with some knowledge right here. So 3 types of deloads that you could do. Number 1, you could do nothing. This is not a good option for most people. So let's say you have a week deload, a week of doing absolutely nothing. So when you do absolutely nothing, for a lot of athletes, that's not a good option. Doing nothing is really never the best option. However, taking a week and just not doing any training is a good option for athletes who are already doing a lot of outside activities. So if you do tons of skills training, so you got skills training every day, or let's say you're off season, you have AAU games, or you have other outside activities, outside demands, and you do a lot of stuff, then doing nothing, taking a whole week off of your training, that's actually probably a good idea. That's what I used to do back when I had a 43-inch vert when I was young, is I would do 7 weeks of training and then just do absolutely nothing except play basketball at LA Fitness 7 days straight. So it wasn't really a deload. But yeah, first option, do nothing. Second option, you could do the same exercises at 70% volume and 70% intensity. So let's say you do 4 sets of a certain exercise, you would do 3 sets. Let's say you do 100 pounds. You do 70 pounds. Let's say you do 10 reps, you do 7 reps. So 70% volume, 70% intensity. Some coaches like to tweak only one of those variables. So some coaches like to keep intensity high and do 70% volume. I don't, because I do the back-off phases. Some coaches like to do 70%. What did I just say? Some coaches like to do 70% volume, 100% intensity. Some coaches like to do 100% volume, 70% intensity. Some coaches like to do 70% volume and intensity. And 70% is an arbitrary number. Some coaches like to do 50%. So just less. And then the last one. So first option for a deload, do nothing. Second option, same exercises, same sets, same reps, except drop everything down to 70%. Third option is do all recovery work. So in this, you're not doing all the same exercises. So you're not doing your squats, your rear foot elevated, your RDLs, your calf raises. You're not doing all that. Instead, you're going for a walk. You're doing some mobility, some foam rolling, some balance work. You're doing anything that improves recovery, gets blood flow to the muscles, the tendons, but doesn't break the body down any further. The goal is recovery. So those are the three options for a deload. All of them will work. Just make sure that it's a week of training that is less intense, less volume. It has to be less than what you've been doing. Back off. I would say, and this isn't an exact number, but I would say a back off for me is 50% volume, maybe even a little bit less, to be honest. 100% intensity. So the whole goal is we go through a volume phase, then we do a deload. Now we're in a back off phase. The whole goal of this back off phase is to see your highest numbers possible. The most you've ever been lifting, the most powerful you've ever felt, the fastest you've ever been, jumping the highest you've ever jumped before. That is the goal. So we want to do super high intensity. Everything is max output, but we're doing super low volume. So just an example, in the vertical jump secret system, for those athletes who are going through it, or if you ever decide to go through it, there are certain phases where we start with 3 sets of 20 reps, right? You'll do 2 weeks of 3 by 20. Then you'll do 2 weeks of 3 by 15. And now you're doing 5 less reps, so you go heavier. Then we do 4 by 10. Now we're only doing 10 reps, so we go even heavier. Then we do 5 by 5. So with 5 by 5, we're going even heavier. And then we'll deload. I actually have a back off or a deload in between those. So we do 3 by 20, 3 by 15, deload, 4 by 10, 5 by 5, deload, back off. So we just crushed our body. Volume phase. We just killed ourselves. Then we deload. Now we're going to do 5 sets of 2 to 3 reps for most exercises. 5 by 2 to 3. But every single rep, you only get 2 to 3 reps. Max output. As fast as you can. As powerful as you can. Jumping as high as you can. As heavy as you can. So that's just an example of what I do in the vertical jump secret system for a back off phase. It is super high intensity, but it is low volume. Now there's 3 options. All of this comes down to this. What should you do after watching this video? There's 3 options for what you could do. You have to implement into your training whatever makes sense for you. Option number 1, you could, and I don't recommend this. This is what I used to do in all my training programs, and it just ended up being too much for most people, especially basketball players that have a career. Here I am, a freaking LA Fitness hooper, a coach, a men's league warrior. And anyways, option number 1. This is what a lot of programs do. Volume, deload, volume, deload, volume, deload, volume, deload. I have found that for most athletes, that 1 week deload isn't enough. Plus, when you're in a volume phase, you're not going to be seeing your highest jumps. The whole point of a volume phase is to crush your body, force adaptation. So you're not going to be seeing your highest jumps. And then you deload for a week. Cool, I start to feel good at the end of that deload, back into a volume phase. So you never really have your highest jumps. You're always fatigued. I just don't recommend that, but that's what a lot of programs actually take you through. I don't want to name any names. Because I used to do that. That's what I used to do. So that is option number 1. Option number 2, this is what I do. I do a volume phase, deload, back off. Volume, deload, back off. Volume, deload, back off. Now, in the volume phase, you're not going to be seeing your highest jumps. But then we deload and we back off and you're flying. So if you want to be bouncy all the time, this might not be the best option for you. But I do believe that this brings the most gains in the long term. I do believe that this, or I wouldn't be doing it. This, in my opinion, and all of this is just my advice. Do whatever you want to do. I do believe that this brings the most gains long term. Volume, deload, back off. So we'll do 4-week volume phase. This is what I actually do. 4 weeks of volume, 1 week of deload. 4 weeks of volume, 1 week of deload. 4 weeks of back off, 1 week deload. So we're volume, volume, back off, volume, volume, back off, each separated by a deload week. Man, I'm giving you all my secrets. But, so that's the best gains long-term, in my opinion. Now, what a lot of coaches do, I actually am reviewing Just Jamari's program, Just Jump. It will drop, what's today, Friday? It's dropping tomorrow. It is literally dropping tomorrow. Wait, no, today is Saturday. I don't know when I'm posting this video, but look at my main channel, Just Jamari. That program might be reviewed. But anyways, he uses this third option. And now he doesn't call it a back off phase. It is just his phase of training. But it is very low volume, very high intensity. He always does low volume, high intensity. So he will do, in my terms, back off, deload, back off, deload, back off, deload, back off, deload. Now he doesn't call it a back off. It's just low volume, high intensity, deload. Low volume, high intensity, deload. Now, what's the benefit of this? You will feel bouncy literally all the time. I do believe that it is slightly less gains long term. But for most athletes who have tons of outside inputs, this is probably the best option for many people. So those are your 3 options. Wouldn't recommend the first one, volume, deload, volume, deload. The second one is what I do the most, volume, deload, back off, volume, deload, back off. And then Just Jamari and a lot of other coaches who have low volume, high intensity, they do back off, deload, back off, deload. So, but they don't call it a back off. It's just low volume, high intensity work. So yeah, hopefully this video is valuable for you. I don't want to yap anymore. Comment, jump for that free program. Leave your question down below if you want me to answer your question in a video just like this. Get my vertical jump secret system and tap in tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you all. See you tomorrow. Peace.